Hello, Twitch world and YouTube world.
Still
World of
connecting.
YouTube.
Yep, we're live.
Oh, whoops. Oops.
Whoops.
Welcome again. Hello, Twitch, again for the second
Hello,
time
hello,
in the last
hello.
5 seconds.
I'm wondering whether we use Facebook Live instead of Twitch.
About messenger rooms.
No, just do live. Not,
Oh,
not, not.
Facebook Live.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Can you do two things? Oh, instead of
Uh,
Twitch.
or both actually. There's nothing to stop OBS from doing that, right? Haven't looked into it. It just popped into my head.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Okay, I'll look into it for next week.
Okay.
Okay, we
OBS.
are now recording episode 144 on Twitch.
On the Twitch, baby. On the Twitch. We're all on the Twitch. It's a bit of a Twitch. Got my water. Ooh, I can move this down. Okay, that's good. I like that. Okay.
All right,
You
ready
know,
to go.
because you know how you tend to look at yourself
Mm.
when you're doing a video conference thing. So like everyone's just looking at themselves. So why are we using video? You know, like have you noticed that?
Yeah, it's one of those things, man.
Yeah. One of those things. You're so vain. All right. Okay. Am I set up?
Yep, you're all good to go.
I'm all good to go. We've said hi to Twitch already.
Hang on. Wait,
Sorry,
ooh,
I'm just stalling. I'm just stalling.
oh, one of my things is broken. 1 second. Uh-oh. Rome, why are you broken? Let me just try that again.
Oh, Naked Tech Podcast went live, according to my watch.
Yeah, gotta trust your watch.
It's almost in real time.
Interesting. 1 second. All right, fixed it. Okay, let's see. 1 second.
Oh wait, my sorry. That's what I forgot to do, which was look at my intro.
Okay, one last thing. All right, good to go.
Yep. Crap. What is the name of that plane? That was it the SR-71?
Yes.
Do you know about this?
No.
That's okay. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry, Twitch. I normally do this before we get to this part of the program, before we kick things off. It's like dead air time, isn't it?
Yep.
Just Kelvin, why don't you just like talk to the audience for a little while, for 10 seconds while
What can I talk about today? Well, we have no viewers, so I'm just gonna sit here.
no, but there's replay.
No, well, yeah, but
Okay.
just gonna chill out. This is how it works. Pre-production. Gotta get your mojo going. Gotta relax. I'm not gonna waste all the good stuff on the pre-show.
That is true. Okay. Sorry. I'm just like being really fastidious. I don't know what are they the same thing? Fastidious?
Welcome to English
Like picky.
101.
Facetious means you're being fake, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
Um, you know what? I think I've lost my short-term memory skills. What was I just talking about? Ah, just kidding.
You're,
Fastidious?
you're
Okay.
funny.
I literally like I was gonna write something down and then because I went off on a tangent, I forgot about what I was gonna on. Okay, now I know. All right, we're ready to go, my friends.
Let's go.
We're at the 6 minute mark. So, yep, another 30-minute episode.
Let's aim
Here
for
we
that.
go. Three, two, and a one. Hello and welcome to episode 144 of the Naked Tech Podcast. It's the show that gives you everything you need to know about consumer tech, the internet, and all things random IDs. I'm your friend Jeff Kim.
My name is Calvin Lee, and Yak Elska Fridge.
Yes,
Yeah.
that one. Your new baby's name or something, or what's
No,
what's
that's
going on there?
I love Sweden in Swedish.
Oh,
But
hello Sweden.
is that the worst impersonation of a Swedish person ever? So yeah, you found out last week that apparently we have a lot of listeners from Sweden.
Sweden, yes. Hello, sunny Sweden.
We have no idea why.
We don't know why. Yeah,
So
why?
if you're
Please
currently
tell us.
listening to us from one of the 7 or 8 towns in Sweden, please drop us a line. How did you find the show and what you love about it? And I'll send you some stickers. So please do.
I do have a working theory, Kelvin.
Uh-oh. It's a robot.
I think it could be a Spotify. I think it could be a Spotify thing.
Oh, because Spotify is Swedish, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, okay. I
Is
didn't
it?
think about that angle, but
Is it?
it is. Yes, it is. They do come from Sweden. Sometimes it's called Sweetify. No, but I think Spotify can be localized, and maybe we've been featured in the Spotify podcast universe.
I think you're right,
Possible.
but a little part of me just wants some small Swedish town to just, find the show, love
I
it.
say this because, I'm saying this because if you drill down into the data, what little data we have from Wooshka still, because they're not giving us much now. They have a new, paying model, subscription model. But Spotify downloads have gone through the roof.
Wow.
So that is the working theory I've got going right now.
Okay, so to all our Spotify listeners, welcome. Tell us what you like about the show, and I'll send you a sticker. Everybody gets stickers. Just tell us what you think.
Well, sounds like you guys might get one before I do. I'm just saying.
Dude, it's blame it on COVID.
Yeah, so Sweden. Sweden is one of those countries that are not going through a lockdown. Not that I know of.
Controversial.
Controversial. Well, is it? I mean, definitely controversial from one angle, but I mean, I haven't read through that part of it too much in the last couple of weeks. But last time I heard that there weren't. I mean, Sweden is a sort of culture that already practices social distancing, so I hear, in a lot of ways. Not saying anything about that culture, but it's a very they're clean. I haven't been there, but I imagine all the cities there's no rubbish in the gutters or anything like that. So it kind of makes sense. But this is just meant to be a segue for our COVID safe app situation. So this is a quick follow up from the last probably 3 or 4 weeks.
Yep.
There seems to be new updates now. We're up to 5.3 billion. 5.3 billion downloads. And here's just a quick clip on that.
Australians have shown time and again in this pandemic that they're a pretty compliant lot. The take-up rate of the COVID Safe app only proves the point. More than 5 million people have installed it on their phones in just 10 days.
So basically, we are very good slaves. Well done, Australia, for being good slaves.
Good boys and girls.
Yeah, I know we're in Asia, but you don't have to submit like that so easily. Okay, that was okay. Now, 5.3 is pretty good, I think. It's probably more than what I would have expected. However, hasn't been without issues. Let's talk about one of the big ones, which is iPhones. So, did you know about this agency called DTA? It's the Data Transformation Agency. And you have heard about it, yeah. So it's all about, creating apps, having a unified sign-on for all our government, services online. And I got to admit, I think that they've done a pretty good job with that over the last, 3-4 years. However, in this situation, they've had to very quickly scrunch up a few coders here and there and reuse the Singapore app that was used for that contact tracing purposes. Now, Randall Brugard, he's the CEO of that organization, and he was at the Senate inquiry, and he had this to say.
There will be circumstances where the app will not capture a Bluetooth handshake. We are working through the process to make that even better.
Yeah, so that's just a very short statement, but saying that for iOS devices, it pretty much has to be running in the foreground for the handshakes to happen.
And we spoke about this. We spoke about this in the last episode. The kernels within iOS and Android, just based out the operating system, they don't like Bluetooth running in the background. They don't like anything running in the background, right? That the operating system was designed to say, hey, you're not meant to be doing this when the app isn't open.
Yeah, and it's not as if and it's more of a battery draining feature rather than a privacy feature, as I understand it from iOS. So, with the new API that they're developing, and it's in like they're calling it the exposure notification API. So this is in the iOS 13.5 in beta 4 at the moment. So how many betas are there usually? So I think maybe the next one could be the real thing. So this is going to be a opt-in feature, as we talked about last week. It's unclear to me though if the background issue is going to be better with this API. I mean, like there's people talking about it, but there's nothing in the documentation that I've seen from Apple to suggest this. So and I haven't really gone into what the reports are from the beta testing either. So it remains to be seen. I think Australia is one of these odd markets where iOS devices is still the majority, as in more than 50%. I mean, Mother's Day last weekend, so I had a bit of a catch up with the family. And it's just staggering how little they know about what this is, and it could. I feel like there could be a unintended consequence here in that, the government is pushing this so hard, and they're telling it as if this is going to save everyone's situation, but it's not. Like there's a number of hurdles you have to get over for this to work, right? But like my mum thinks like I helped her install it, and she's like, I feel safer going out now because the phone's going to buzz me when someone with COVID walks past her. It'll tell her. It's like, no,
that's
very,
not how it works, Mom.
yeah. But I think a lot of people still think that.
Well, if they take the drones that we spoke about last week, that can detect, what a COVID patient might look like, and do something about it, then yeah. But it's such a like this dystopian worldview that people want, and they're hoping that this app will give it to them. Like they're hoping that technology can solve all their issues, but we don't have the technology for that. Hell, we don't have the regulation to support a technology like that.
No.
And privacy and everything, like it's not going to work out the way they want it to work.
Yeah, so it's somewhat depressing me a little bit. I still haven't installed it, obviously. I see no use for it at the moment. Even my doctor friends, like they don't really understand how the app works, and they've been told to advise their patients. And I think we're just sort of treading dangerous waters right now, because there's this notion that the app is just going to protect you somehow. Just by installing it, it's going to protect you, which gives a false sense of confidence, right?
Yeah, totally.
And yeah, we'll see how that plays out. I think a lot of this we talked about in the last couple of weeks. So I would say this is probably the last we're going to talk about the app, at least for the time being, hopefully, because I'm kind of sick of it.
Unless there's a massive screw up coming in the coming weeks, then we'll probably have to bring it up again.
Yeah. Just a quick another follow up from last week. I think I made a comment, Kelvin, that Elon Musk is pretty much the new Trump. And you were a bit surprised with that comment.
Yeah.
I'm going to have Emily Chang from Bloomberg Technology News, executive producer and journalist, she's going to read out some tweets.
The tweet from the president here. California should let Tesla and Elon Musk open the plant now. It can be done fast and safely. Musk tweeting back, "Thank you."
Thank you.
Thank you. Should I make that an ISO? I love that. Thank
please.
you. Yes, please. Yeah. So we're gonna probably do this on a weekly basis as well. So let's call it Musk Watch. So he is defying the Californian government by getting people to come back to the Tesla factory in Fremont in LA, because he, I think earlier he threatened to move the whole operation into Texas or Nevada maybe. So this, just like Trump trolls the internet, this is Elon now.
All it takes is for one poor, worker at the Tesla factory to contract COVID and it's all game over, right? Doesn't matter if someone goes to jail.
Well, I think that, the government has also threatened Elon Musk about that too. So, he definitely plays at the edges. Now, Elon Musk, he was also on Joe Rogan.
Again.
Joe Rogan Experience podcast part 2. Didn't go so well for him last time, so a bit of a surprise for him to be there again. The big talking point for me was about the baby's name.
Mhm.
Here's Joe Rogan asking how to pronounce it.
What? How do you say the name? Is it a placeholder?
First of all, my partner is the one that actually mostly came up with the name.
Congratulations to her.
Yeah, she's great at names. It's just X, the letter X, and then the AE is pronounced Ash, and then A12. A12 is my contribution.
Oh, why A12?
Archangel 12, the precursor to the SR-71, coolest plane ever.
Coolest and probably the deadliest plane ever. It makes sense, I guess. He's into aviation. He's into aeronautics. So what is the name again? It's X-Ash A12.
He just said that she's good at names.
She also speaks Elven.
This says otherwise. Poor kid, though.
Yeah.
Poor kid.
Poor kid. I think he's going to be called Ash. He or she. Not determined yet. And it's very unlikely that in the birth certificate, you have more experience in having a child and naming them at the hospital. Do you have to sign it straight after or
No. So in New South Wales, you have 60 days, I think.
So you don't have to sign a birth certificate at all for 60 days?
Yeah. It's,
What?
It's baby of. Yeah.
Okay, I see.
So you don't have to. But even if you do, this still looks like a barcode. You know what I mean? It won't change anything.
Well, there's a law or a guideline in the baby names, whatever law there is in California, to say that you can't use numbers or special characters, and it's full of them.
Really? I
Yeah.
did not know
That's
that.
why there's a theory that's not actually. This is just a big troll.
Oh.
Just because he put that on a tweet somewhere, and then, I think I clipped the whole article about how Grimes explained to someone how she came up with the name and what it means. Some people think it actually spells Kyle, because the X is like a Chi in ancient Greek, and the AE could be a AI, and then A12, 12th letter of the alphabet, is L. So some people think it's Kyle. And I think that's Elon's brother's name too. So yeah.
Carl Musk. Ash
Carl
Musk.
Musk.
Ash Musk. Carl's better. Carl's way better.
One other clip from the podcast quickly was just a follow up from his stuff with Neuralink. So that's probably the part that people don't realize. I think when you hear Elon Musk's name, what do you think? You think electric cars, you think
Flamethrowers.
spaceships going to the moon, Mars, and what flamethrowers?
Yeah.
What else? And Twitter. But not many people think about how we gonna build a brain to computer interface, which is what Neuralink is. So here is Joe asking about that. let me just set this up properly. Yeah, so I think, Elon's going to talk about how the first iteration is just going to be mostly for disabled people that cannot communicate like we can, and possible timelines in how that communication changes.
Really, in the first few versions, all we're going to be trying to do is solve brain injuries. So it's like don't worry that it's not going to sneak up on you. This will take a while.
How many years before you don't have to talk?
If the development continues to accelerate, then maybe like 5 years, 5 to 10 years.
That's quick. That's really quick.
That's the best case scenario.
No talking anymore.
No talking anymore. I don't know what happened to podcasts, Kelvin.
What? We don't have to talk. We'll just sit here and just use like, radio waves or something and just transmit our thoughts into people's minds.
Is that through Spotify still?
Probably. Go
What happened to Spotify?
Yeah.
What happens to music when we don't need to listen to things to communicate?
There still needs to be a transmission point and a receiver point, right? Like people, there still needs to be ins and outs. The thing that always baffled me about technology that uses brainwaves to communicate, there's just so much happening in my head. What I say is not what I think. How are they going to filter that? And wasn't there a whole...
Through AI and machine learning.
Maybe. Wasn't there a whole Black Mirror episode about this? You know what I mean? Like trying to
I'm sure there were several episodes about this. I think the whole Black Mirror anthology is about this, actually.
Yeah, but also there's a whole Facebook TV show on this called Limetown. It was based off a very popular podcast that I loved, where it basically killed everyone because the noise that comes from listening to people's thoughts and brainwaves is a very complex thing, and it just kills the amount of processing your brain can do just to listen into that and process that it's insane.
Yeah, so I think I played this clip because 5 to 10 years for us to not talk, to communicate, is a bit of a clickbaity headline, right? So a lot of these outlets have talked about that. You've got one on the screen at the moment. However, I think it was taken a little bit out of context. So he did mention this is for the first iteration, which is for disabled people out there. They're either quadriplegics. They have to use like a pen type thing to type in letter by letter to communicate to people. You would think that this is going to help them incredibly well, if it actually works. Even just to communicate in a very limited way as well. It's a lot better than the current situation. So I think that's what he's talking about. It's like for those people to be communicating without speech 5 to 10 years. So I mean, so it's not everyone. Obviously you're gonna need these things in your head. And he did talk about how the hole in your skull is actually going to be like an inch in diameter. Can you imagine that? Like a 1 inch diameter hole in your head for this to... I mean, this is first iteration, right? So by the year 2035, are we talking about like a tiny hole, like a nano scale type thing? Not sure.
And also depending on how the coronavirus and COVID goes, would we spend medical resources doing things like this? Everything will slow down, I think.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting question because a lot of the technology things have actually escalated, right? Someone said the quote the other day, the biggest digital disruptor is like a COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
When it comes to video conferencing, that's for sure. But yeah, I think we can move on from Elon. That's 2 weeks of Elon as well. So I'll try not to clip any Elon clips from now on.
Hashtag no more.
We've got some other hashtag that. What should we go on to next?
Let's talk about Chris Hemsworth. I know this is a bit of a left field topic to talk about.
Elon Musk to Chris Hemsworth.
Hey, that's what we do here. So I caught this article on The Verge where Chris Hemsworth's app called Centr, CENTR, has been charging people when they weren't meant to. So it's one of those typical apps where you sign up for a free trial, and when it's over, they charge you a lot of money to keep using the app. In this case, it's $99 after 6 weeks of having free content. But apparently they just started charging people, even before the trial was over, or even when people canceled their accounts, they were getting charged. It was a huge mess, a lot of hate on Instagram, Twitter. There's a couple of examples now I'm showing on Twitch. Brooke IEK 2323. I just got charged for a subscription after canceling the program. I'm so pissed off right now. I lose my job. The company takes my money. I want a refund right now.
Jesus.
So it's all over the place. The way I read this, they've got no comments, obviously, from Chris or Center, but I think it's an honest mistake. I think there must be a clerical error somewhere. But what I started to read about was this concept of dark patterns and how people configure these apps, websites, and interactions to trick users into, spending money. Obviously, I, was reading the comments because I thought it was quite funny, and I decided to look into it a little bit. So here's a great YouTube channel called Nerdwriter explaining what exactly a dark, pattern looks like and what it is.
Dark patterns are features of interface design crafted to trick users into doing things that they might not want to do, but which benefit the business in question.
So there are different patterns that people use to take your money. In this particular case of Center, it's called the Roach Motel. And Nerdwriter is just going to explain a bit more about what that is exactly.
UX specialist Harry Brignall categorizes this specific kind of dark pattern as a roach motel, a design that makes it very easy for you to get into a situation, but very hard to get out. Brignall is actually the one who coined the term dark pattern in 2010, and he's been cataloging and lecturing about the issue ever since. Many of these dark patterns we're all familiar with. I only have to search my email for a few seconds to find one. For example, here, I'm getting spam emails from Architectural Digest. I scroll down and look at that. This is a mess, but it's a mess on purpose. The unsubscribe link is here, but it's devilishly hard to see. That's because it's the same font and virtually the same color as the rest of the fine print. Here's another dark pattern that uses color to misdirect. Over at the user testing blog, Jennifer Jerome points out that the mobile game Two Dots carries you through the experience by offering green buttons. A green button to start the game, a green button to pick a level, a green button to start the level, and 3 green buttons to continue to the next level, and so on. But once you lose a level, the color scheme changes. The first green button you see leads you right to an in-app purchase, while the continue button is just a little X that blends into the larger element.
I think I've watched that episode already.
Yeah, so I've never come across this particular view of user experience on apps and websites, and I found it really intriguing that there's a whole study on a lot of these dodgy practices. Like I've actually fallen for one before. It was on a Supercell game. I was just, opening my free chests, and before you know it, I clicked on buying 150 crystals, and because I didn't have the Apple iOS protection of scanning my fingerprint before buying something, bam, immediately I was charged some money.
Really?
So, or what I also suspect happened was I like to rest my finger on the button and just play with it sometimes. So while I was clicking the button on my left hand, I must have just, the timing was just perfect for me to actually press the fingerprint ID on the right side. So it was like click, click. I was like, crap. But thankfully I got refunded because I think, people are protected from things like that. But if someone like me who understands a little bit about UX, who, uses a lot of technology, can just, accidentally make a purchase like this, you can imagine kids or moms or dads and people who, unknowingly do these things. And the fact that there are apps being specifically designed to do this, I think they should all be named and shamed.
Is there a ethical element to this? I mean, is it like, I feel like it's just part of business on the web.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I don't think it's ethical. I think it's moral. I feel like, sure, you can make money. It's a question of should you.
But I mean, like there's a lot of guidelines and standards to say, a website has to be accessible, right? And I guess if you're, it's not by law though, is it? You can't. It's not illegal to have a site that's inaccessible. However, if you're say like a big bank, where customers rely on all your services, like all customers rely on the services of that bank, the government can, through organizations like APRA and ASIC, have that big stick to say, yep, it has to be available for everyone.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like obviously, well, I mean, I've got to be a bit careful here, but like, banks would do this in a slightly different way. You could like, where would you draw this line exactly? Like dark to acceptable.
To
levels.
gray. In the case of Two Dots, they were using colors to trick the mind into making a Pavlovian response. And what's also scary...
You might have to explain that one day. I actually know about it, the Pavlovian, to do with dogs, right?
Correct. So Pavlovian response, Pavlov, poor dog, in the 70s, there was an experiment being done where the dog, they would measure how much the dog was salivating based on this experiment they did. So there was a light that went on and food would be given. They did that over and over again. After a certain point, they just showed the light and the dog just went, would salivate. I'm not going to tell you how they measured that salivation because it was cruel AF. So what they're doing here is green button, green button is good. All of a sudden, purchase something is also a green button. You get tricked into it. You click on it, you buy it.
Yep.
It becomes a Pavlovian response. What is scary is there are a lot of companies like banks who now have behavioral science teams who understand these concepts. I'm going to believe that a lot of these behavioral teams do the good thing, do the right thing, helping people remember, helping people, financially, better themselves. But I swear to God, there are a lot of companies out there who probably use these behavioral teams for different purposes that are immoral.
We're also at an age where, obviously machine learning will actually set up these experiments automatically and just tell the business, actually, green, like we just tried green just randomly because it's a random color and that works. That drives more sales. Therefore, this experiment wins. So it could be like that as well. And like, to me, I mean, yes, that's, and maybe I am too close to this industry to say so, because yes, it is a gray area. I think there's definitely like actual nefarious, practices by tricking people. But getting a sale is, at the end of the day, it is kind of like trying to trick people without being upfront about it, maybe.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, it happens all the time, right? Like, the moving the buttons and moving the prices, and there's so many theories about, if you go from lowest price to highest price from left to right, but then you put the highest price in the middle, or the middle price in the middle, and things like, they've tested everything, and human minds aren't super complex. It's quite easy to trick us. But no,
sorry, you finish.
No, I had a really good sort of time looking into this, and I like what this does for the show as well, for the podcast. I feel like we cover a lot of recent events at the beginning of the show, and we can chat about more in-depth topics like this. And it'll be interesting to see what else we can cover in future shows.
That's right. More of the same, please, Kelvin. I like that one. Okay, from Chris Hemsworth. I don't know if we really discussed Chris Hemsworth, but Sarah Lane. We're going to Sarah Lane from DTNS, Daily Tech News Show podcast. She's going to be talking about Google and its somewhat complicated world of messaging apps. The update on that.
Google announced it would bring its collective communication products under the oversight of VP and GM of G Suite, Javier Soltero. This now includes Messages, Duo, the phone app on Android, Google Meet, Google Chat, already part of G Suite. Speaking to The Verge, Soltero said there are no immediate plans to change or integrate any of Google's messaging apps, and that the company believes people chose Google's messaging apps for specific purposes.
I don't know if you heard it there, but in the
Who's-
background, the other podcasts are just like cracking up because hey, hasn't this happened before?
Yeah.
Poor Google.
This is really bad. This is really bad for
Mm.
Google. I mean, they pride themselves in simplicity. Google.com will never change, but they can't figure out one chat app. It's just like, look at Facebook Messenger, right? It's got a lot of things attached to it, but it's one single app and the direction is clear.
I think the problem is, yeah, I mean, maybe in the Facebook way of build fast and break things, they've obviously done this. They've got a lot of products. They also acquire a lot of companies that have all these features, so they become part of the suite of products. So right now, they've got Google Meet, which is an enterprise product, but they've just released it to the public for free, which is great. I haven't used it yet. Should try it out. There's Google Chat as well. I guess that's the chat that you get in your Gmail. Would it be?
See,
I think.
I don't know anymore. They're all just blending together for me.
Yeah. And there's the phone app, and I guess there's the messages on Android as well, which is not. I mean, I would have thought, yeah, Android, let's just connect that with Google, but that hasn't happened. There's Duo, and there was one other thing that just got killed recently too. So the story is that all of these products are going under the one guy, Javier Soltero. He runs the G Suite, which is the enterprise arm of Google. So that, he literally said, "Oh, we're not going to consolidate anything. It's not on the roadmap." So the news is it's all under one person. So is that better than nothing? Maybe there's some coherency coming from that.
Maybe it's for like, but if what exactly is Google going for? I mean, just on face value, right? Like on paper, this is such a bad idea, in the sense that having so many products all do predominantly the same basic thing. If it's so apparent to us, what are we missing here? What exactly is Google trying to do here with all these separate chat apps?
I mean, I totally see it because, I work for a big organization and, someone might have a great idea or some new person has been hired that works in this sort of random division on the side and say, hey, we're just going to go fast and build this actually cool thing. And it's actually really great, amazing UX. And, in the testing, users love it. So the other guy say, hey, well, let's try to, integrate with that somehow. And, 5 years later, there's like 10 different chat apps.
Yeah, but you know what? Have the balls to close some of them. I'm sure it's tough. I'm sure they're looking at the user numbers and teams don't want to let go of things, but it has to come from the top, and hopefully, Soltero can be that leader.
Well, Kelvin, there's another Google product set that is confusing. Music. What do they have? Google Play Music, YouTube Music,
YouTube
Music.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're saying just YouTube?
Yeah.
Well, that's probably it in terms of like streaming, music service. And they did announce this a fair way back, but as of this week, users of Google Play Music have been asked to transfer, I guess, all their data because you know how, like, Audio Andy, if you're listening, you probably use Google Play Music because I think it has the highest bit rate. And for those, way back when we used to, rip CDs and have our own collection, you were able to upload those rips into Google Play Music. But now you should be doing that to YouTube Music. So it all sort of, there's a one button simple process where you can say, hey, I want to transfer all my stuff on Google Play Music to YouTube Music. And here is Ayaz Yakhtar just talking about that experience.
All right, Google is ready to get Google Play Music users like me over to YouTube Music. You'll receive an email saying that you can transfer everything from Google Play Music over to YouTube Music. You should be able to head over to music.youtube.com/transfer to start the fun.
Are you a Google Play Music user?
Yeah, I've recently been listening to more YouTube music. Like, I don't mind the app as well. Like I subscribe to YouTube Red, so it gives me all the Google Music services.
So you said YouTube Red, not the other one? YouTube Red.
Yeah, so
rebranded YouTube Premium, by the way.
Oh, so, yeah, I'm still sticking to that one. So yeah, I listen to it. I don't have a Spotify account. So I'm okay with this. I think, you know, but I'm a bit of a mainstream listener, unlike yourself, where you're a retired music blogger and you probably listen to more, you know, more up and coming stuff. But it works for me. The UI is okay. More interestingly enough, they've separated podcasts into its own app, and that recently got a big overhaul. So for us, you know, podcast listeners, I think that's good.
Yeah, actually, I need to talk to you about that because I think we need to submit the Google Podcast feed anyway. Something we need to maybe do in the next week or so. Yeah, but I just don't like the name YouTube Music. I mean, like those two things don't seem to go together unless this is really for the millennials or Generation Z or whatever, where, you know, people those guys go to YouTube for music. But like, why call it YouTube Music? It's just YouTube.
Yeah, but I think, well, you know, I think it's to separate video and audio. And YouTube is a great brand. I think it's way better than Google Play. I think Google's been trying to make Google Play a thing for the longest time now. And it doesn't really do anything. You know, I'm an Android user and I'm not quite sure what the whole point of Google Play is. You log in, you get a couple of trophies and achievements, and that's it. But then there's a music attachment to it. So I think it's to separate the Google Play app versus Google Play Music. And entertainment of, you know, audio and visual on one side and gaming on one side. But yeah, Google needs help with their branding and their product segmentation because it's a mess.
Yeah, so hopefully consolidation happening as we speak. Now I've put it in the show notes, but there is a website that someone put together called killedbygoogle.com. Don't know if you want to just bring that up on the screen,
Yeah,
but
I
like
will.
it basically lists all the things that have died over the years, and it dates back to like last decade, actually 2 decades ago.
The
yeah.
one that always sticks in my mind is Google Wave. I don't know why. Let's try the search here.
Yeah, it's definitely there.
Yeah,
When
Google
was that
Wave,
killed?
2012.
Yeah, wow.
I didn't mind it at all.
So-
I remember using it.
It was a great product. It was probably 8 years ahead of its time
Hmm.
because, you know, SharePoint and, you know, like everything is using similar type thing. But back then, like being able to edit a document in real time and collaborate on real time, and you can see, you know, someone's name as a cursor, you know, it's all happening in real time. That was mind blowing back in 2010, whatever it was. But did you know AngularJS is being sunset?
No,
I only just found out.
I want to talk about that because it was the bee's knees. I remember developers going, "Hey, Kelvin, we should build this in Angular. It'd be great for the website."
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, they're killing it.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
gonna
we got till June 2021.
that's gonna cause a lot of headaches for a lot of websites. Good luck, Jeff. What's Neighborly anyway? We could spend a whole episode going through this list. I think that'd be fun.
It would be, yeah. That's all I got for this week, Calvin, unless you want to talk about some other ones.
Hey, the fact that we covered Elon Musk, Chris Hemsworth, and the things that Google killed, I think that is all for episode 144. To listen to all 143 other episodes, please go to the website. That's nakedtechpodcast.com. You can also find us on all the different social networks. In the meantime, please let us know what you think. Leave 5 stars. Cal out.
Jeff out. 5 stars, please.
What the hell is one today?
1 today, 2 tomorrow.
It was an app that allowed you to donate $1 to different organizations.
Let me bring it up. Too much.
Wait,
Did you see the PS5?
They killed
demo?
Daydream?
What was Daydream?
The VR.
VR. Yeah.
What the
7 months
hell?
ago. What was that again? Was that just the phone VR?
No, it was the hardware devices and everything, the platform. Wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty extensive list.
They killed YouTube Gaming?
Did they? No, they didn't.
Yeah, it's here.
Google Trips? Google Trips. I was using that just last year.
Well, they killed Inbox, that I know.
So YouTube Gaming is just YouTube, right? It's just like a category in YouTube.
No, it was Twitch.
I know, but like
Yeah.
now they just do it on YouTube.
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
not like
That's
a
right. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what I mean. That's what they should do with YouTube Music. Now they're gonna probably kill YouTube Music at some stage, and just go to YouTube anyway. Google Plus. What? Only 1 year ago. Doesn't seem
Google
right.
Now, Nexus Player.
Google Allo. Chromecast Audio. Google Goggles. What?
Oh yeah, they killed Picasa too. That's right.
Project Tango. Wasn't that the innovation arm? What else? Google Spaces? Was that like MySpace?
What the hell is Quick Office?
Quick Office. Recapture images. Oh, recapture mail hide. Encrypted search. There's nothing here about Google Search Appliance, man.
That's right.
Google Wallet Card.
Jaiku.
Songza. Wow. Just bought these companies and just killed them.
Yeah.
I'm not even halfway. Word Lens. It just became Lens. Walkit. Walkit was massive in Brazil.
Zeitgeist.
iGoogle. Wow. I haven't thought about that for a long time. iGoogle. What was iGoogle? It was like your
I think it was an
ID
app
for
for
Google?
iOS. I thought it was an iOS app.
No, I think it was, okay, let's read it here. iGoogle was a customizable Ajax-based start page. Oh, okay. Don't know. Google
that's
Reader.
right. You can move
Oh.
things around. iGoogle. I remember that. You created like a homepage that was personalized for you.
Yeah, I remember there was some sort of thing like that. Google Reader was 7 years ago. My goodness. You don't really need Google Reader anymore because of Twitter, right?
Anyway, I'm going to stop the stream.
Bye-bye, Twitch.
Ciao.
Or YouTube.